Welcome back to another episode of the Protein Bros podcast. I am your host, Jeff Wasserman, and is with me, as always, my co-host, Kyle Combs.
What's going on, guys?
Today is a special day. We do not have a guest because we are unrolling a new format to you guys.
Yeah.
And that is going to be five good questions with Jeff and Kyle.
I'm going to stare into your eyes today. Beautiful eyes.
Lucky you.
Lucky me.
What are they today? Sometimes they're green, sometimes they're blue.
I don't know. Don't ask me that.
Look me in the eye, Kyle. Tell me. What color?
They're blue.
So what we need to do here, we pick a topic. We're going to go back and forth. We're going to, ask each other these questions and get our take on it. And what we hope for is some engagement from you guys, the listeners, and you let us know what your thoughts are on these questions in our comments below on our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe to it or find us on our Instagram, Protein Bros Podcast. And don't forget to go to our website, proteinbrospodcast.com. What else do we need to tell them, Luke?
Hey, you know what? You know what this weekend is?
Summer Smash?
You're gonna be jealous.
My cousin Aaron's wedding?
Yeah, nope. You're gonna miss out on Summer Smash. When's the last time that you didn't go to Summer Smash?
Honestly, it's probably, I think, first year we were open here, so 2017.
Yeah, you're gonna miss out. Last year you had a really good time.
Yeah. We could add that little picture right here, Luke, of me on top of the sport chassis. Apparently,
while Steve Aoki was playing, we almost got kicked out of Summer Smash.
Yeah, the combination of Steve Aoki, Nelly, Flo Rida, and Connor, one of our own, got caked by Steve Aoki, like full-size cake. Make sure we include that too.
Just a good video of that. I was standing right behind him. I've never laughed harder in my life.
Instagram influencer, famous Titan Games girl who won the first season of Titan Games on NBC was Charity Witt. She was on some dude's shoulders right behind Connor, and she got crushed by the cake too.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. So let's make sure we include that too. All right. So without further ado, Kyle and I have been in the fitness industry combined. If we put all of our years of experience together, I think we're at like 28 years, something like that.
We're old.
Super old. So anyways, I started working here at Supplement Superstores at 19 years old. I think you were 21.
21. Yep.
And we are now in a spot, guys, where we've seen the industry change quite a bit. And so we're just going to talk about, what we've learned over the years. And that's just what we've noticed, I guess, our observations. So this is a pure opinionative podcast. If you don't agree with us, tell us. I don't care. I'm all about it. So here we go. Let's get started. Kyle, what is the state of the fitness industry in right now? And what are some of the major changes you've noticed?
Very good question. I think the biggest trend that I've seen in the last couple of years, especially coming out of the pandemic, was a rise in overall care for general health. I think that prior to the pandemic, you had the beginnings of Instagram. When Instagram first launched, it basically made the industry vain, I would say, in a certain way.
I think appearance was at an all-time high as far as value goes.
For sure. And I think the pandemic brought people back to the reality of, hey, it's okay to have a six-pack, but I really need to make sure that I'm healthy and that I'm going to live a long life. And when I think of longevity, that's not just living a long time. It's also living a quality life while you're here. So, what are your opinions on it?
Man, there's a lot I could unpack here. I think that it's important to annotate when we first started the mediums that we had, right? So in 2000,
magazines,
correct.
Muscular development.
Yep, 2008. If you were a big name in the fitness industry, you got a cover on, let's say, men's health. There was women's health, obviously. There's Oxygen magazine. There was muscular development. I'm sure I'm missing a few. Muscle and fitness.
Flex, dude.
Flex on top of that.
Flex and muscular development were all I looked at that time.
Yeah, muscular development was for sure the biggest name as far as bodybuilding specifically in magazines, and that's where you would look. And then also for like day-to-day stuff, as far as just chatting with others and learning more, et cetera, you'd go to bodybuilding.com.
Yeah, they had the forums.
And so people would get on these forums, and there's also T-Nation, shout out to them as well. People get on there. But with the advent of social media, and specifically Instagram being the first one where it was just pictures only and there's no videos left, yet, the fitness industry changed like a holy shit amount. Like the only way to describe it is, you went from looking at these magazines every week to not even caring, and just in just such a short amount of time. Like I have no idea how those magazines are still going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I can't remember the last time I picked up a magazine and flipped through one.
Probably most of them are going to subscription-based online newsletters.
But they better have some quality content, because now, how does your screen really differentiate, right? To just somebody posting a blog.
Yeah.
Right.
I think gatekeepers of the fitness industry basically became their importance completely went away.
For our listeners, what it would be a gatekeeper in this situation?
So, back in the day, you'd have somebody who hired you to be a model in the magazine, right? Mm-hmm. And so you had to have an agent. You had to have, a certain, portfolio that they were showing.
Tons of headshots.
Tons of headshots. Probably have won, shows, things like that. When the internet came along and basically just destroyed that whole model. Because you could be somebody who's never competed. You could be somebody who's doesn't have an.
The barrier of entry is extremely low now, and that's honestly, the internet has done that for almost every industry, not just fitness, right? Yep. If you wanted to, think about how many clothing brands we've seen.
Yeah,
it's very quick and easy to get started, very difficult to stick around, and so
I think it's just information in general too. It's like I fixed my lawnmower the other day, and it was like 10 years ago, I would have taken my lawnmower to a mechanic, but now I just get on YouTube and it tells me how to do it.
And 15 years ago, you would have checked the yellow pages to find who would fix that lawnmower.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, guys, in 2009, I worked as an intern for the Springfield Cardinals, and the number one sponsor for the Springfield Cardinals was the Names and Numbers phone book.
Yeah.
Cannot believe that's still a thing.
No, it's not. It can't be.
Can't be. So the other thing I want to mention here, as far as how the fitness industry has changed, that's super important to annotate, is bodybuilding was for sure the pace setter for the fitness industry. It's what we looked to see who was a big name, who's winning these contests. Obviously, the different bodybuilding contests, whether it be the Arnold Classic or the Olympia, you'd see who's winning these shows, and that would tell you who's going to be the next big name sponsor for, let's say, Muscle Tech supplements.
Yeah, Muscle Tech or BSN.
BSN. These were the big names at the time. Now, the first time I'd ever seen this was because of Instagram. Paige Hathaway.
Yeah.
Paige Hathaway was the first name that I personally had seen who became an absolute public figure in the fitness industry through Shreds and her advertisements through Shreds on her Instagram, where this girl had literally placed fourth in a local show. Literally. Mm-hmm. And that's when bodybuilding, as it's, as we know it, kind of changed, where it's there's less and less people trying to compete and more people just trying to look good for the gram, right?
For sure.
And they're marketing themselves through that, and they're making money through that and selling online training. We didn't even know online training existed really until Instagram. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so it's just wild to see kind of that progress, because it's totally changed how we look at fitness. People I know that I'm friends with that would, typically never sign up with a trainer are buying diets on Instagram.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is you no longer needed to win a show at a local level, on a national level, or become a pro to get some kind of, clout or any kind of, free product or free entry for a show, et cetera. You started seeing people getting sponsored purely based on, vanity.
Yeah.
Right. But on top of that, they're getting sponsored maybe because of the amount of clients they have, because they're a coach.
Yeah.
Right. And it's no longer based on purely one thing. And that used to just be, how did you perform at the sport?
Yeah.
So it's just wild to see kind of that change.
Shreds was also the first company that came along where they would doctor photos. Yeah. So they would make people's, waist smaller. They would do.
Did they ever come out and say that was Shreds specifically that was doing it? Because I thought it was the individual athletes. Because Devin Physique was one that got brought down first, right?
All of them were caught doing it,
Sure.
But, and I think that's what kind of led to the downfall of that company in general.
But it's amazing that it didn't slow down at all. The advent of people using Instagram to promote their fitness careers, and we just keep
I'm sure people still do
now.
it.
It's doctored videos.
Yeah,
it's you can make anything look real. That's crazy.
I also think there was something interesting that happened at that time too, where Instagram became popular. Before Instagram, I tell our younger employees this all the time. I was just obsessed with getting big. I was obsessed with getting bigger for football. I didn't really care if I was getting a little bit fatter at the time because I was more interested in getting stronger.
Trying to get a powerlifting pro total, I remember.
And getting bigger. Then Instagram came along, and when we would be working in the stores, it was the first time that guys started coming into the store, and they would be like, you would hear them say, yeah, I just don't want to get too big.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Because prior to Instagram, every kid that would come in the store would be like, I'm trying to get big, man.
I'm trying to get as big as possible.
What do I need to do to do that? And then Instagram came along, and it was like all of a sudden people started seeing, people that are ripped all the time.
The aesthetic, craze took over.
And maybe that part of that can be attributed to like, what was that dude's name out of
the Ziz?
Ziz, I think is actually his name. And he kind of started that aesthetic revolution where it wasn't always about just getting bigger. It was, really
Greg Plitt as well.
Yeah, Greg Plitt, RIP to both of them. Yeah. But they figured out, I would say, what was attractive to a female.
Correct.
And they were able to deploy that. And then all these, all the kids that were working out during that time were like, well.
And how do you know that the girls like it? The comments.
Yeah.
You can actually see feedback.
You can see the likes and the comments. And, it was, you started realizing that, and people that were interested in heavyweight bodybuilding, which I'm a super big fan of. I love bodybuilding. It's what got me into the fitness industry. You started realizing like, there's just dudes that are interested in that for the most part.
I think we need to also recognize that on the female side of things, on bodybuilding, things have changed quite a bit, right? So for the longest time, IFBB completely got rid of female bodybuilding. Is it back yet? I genuinely don't know.
Yeah.
It's back?
Yeah. I don't know if it's back
took it away.
in the Olympia yet, but
so they took it away, and then they brought back
women's physique.
They introduced women's physique. Yep. They introduced men's physique. They brought in bikini. That's all happened in the last 15 years. Like bikini wasn't a thing. Yeah. Physique wasn't a thing. And,
which all of that is a result of what I'm talking about.
Correct.
You could basically trace those
people didn't want to get as big anymore.
Yeah.
And there's enough people out there that are like, dude, I don't really want to be that big. I just want to look lean. I just want to look ripped, etc. And, also it's making it more easy for people to become a pro because it just takes years and years and years to stack on enough muscle, mature your muscle enough to become an IFBB pro in bodybuilding. And so now you have people becoming pros at 23, 24 years old, which it used to be like, if you could do it by 30, you were, a once in a, generation person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a totally different game you're playing there. To be a top level IFBB pro bodybuilder, you have to be extremely, extremely talented genetically. And then you also have to be willing to push the limits. And I'm not saying that guys that are doing men's physique and guys that are doing, classic physique are not pushing the limits too. They're just not doing it to the same extent, or maybe they don't have quite as good of genetics as far as for putting on muscle tissue.
I got a really good question for you now. So here's the next one. As a CrossFitter,
I'm not
you are 100% a CrossFitter.
I'm a freak athlete. Yeah, that's true.
I think Kyle was like top 500 this year. Is that something like that?
No.
Weren't you like top 500 in the regionals or something maybe?
I don't remember. I don't know.
Kyle's good at CrossFit. He's just really, really humble.
I'm literally not great. I'm okay.
So Kyle, CrossFit really got big for us. I remember 2011 or 12 was when really it started taking over in Springfield. So shout out Jeremy Meyer, now at Proximal Strength.
Jeremy Meyer made me do my first
you did Fran, yeah.
Did strict Fran. It was terrible.
So that was, formerly known as CrossFit Springfield down when we were in Springfield, Missouri. Dude, CrossFit was humongous down there.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest hotbeds of CrossFit in the entire country at the time in 2010, 2011, 2012. And they had teams represented at the CrossFit Games back then.
I would say they still are pretty hot. I mean, Team 417 is still, a
big
team
deal.
That qualifies for, the
Jared's
CrossFit
still
games.
on the team?
I don't think he is anymore.
Yeah. Well, good for him. But crazy enough. So let's get back to the question. And the question is just, has CrossFit, as it's evolved and changed, do you feel like it's completely peaked? Or do you feel like it still has room to grow, or is it just kind of going to keep being the same?
I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, there's two different things when you're talking about CrossFit. You're talking about CrossFit as a training philosophy for like general population, and then you're talking about competitive CrossFit.
The sport itself, and what kind of changes for these people have they seen? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of changes have we seen in CrossFit over the last decade?
I think competitive CrossFit might has hit its spectator peak, because CrossFit in general is not a super watchable sport unless you're into CrossFit.
Correct.
So I don't know if there's going to be a ton of growth in the spectator sport of CrossFit, but I do think that the general population doing and when I say CrossFit, I don't even mean just CrossFit. I mean doing,
barbell movements,
barbell
compound
movements, doing, trying to increase aerobic capacity. That type of training, I think, will continue to grow. And back to what we were talking about originally, as far as trends in the fitness industry, 15 years ago, when was the last time that, could you imagine us or the guys in the stores doing Murph every day 15 years ago?
Dude, I can't imagine that even 5 years ago.
No, but our guys just did that.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Which just shows you that there is more younger people who are interested in increasing aerobic capacity, increasing overall health, increasing, things that are going to increase quality of life
physical feats
versus
right?
just putting on muscle tissue.
It's like doing a tough workout is something that's also, and this is like, there's a lot of different reasons behind people, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's just like their rationale behind doing these things.
Yeah.
But I think that doing a really hard workout is something that you can also brag about on your social media, and so it just adds to the other things that you can do on social that you wouldn't have done before.
Yeah. I mean,
how many people, are doing Murph and not saying a word about it? I don't know. And I'm not saying that that's the reason why anybody did it. I'm just saying that that's another variable.
Yeah. I think more than anything, people are starting to realize because of the increase in information, the benefits for heart health, the benefits for brain health, the benefits for, increasing longevity, increasing your lifespan is so interconnected with, a couple of different things. Physical activity, the number one thing, if you're trying to increase longevity is basically increasing physical activity, exercising at least 30 minutes, for 30 minutes, 3 times a week has been shown over and over again to increase longevity. And then also, reducing weight, so not being overweight.
Yeah, diet.
And then diet, and diet and reducing weight can be two different things,
sure.
So
sure.
You can be a skinny person and have a high metabolic rate and still be eating things that can negatively impact longevity. But anyways, I think CrossFit for like general population is only growing. And I think there's a couple different reasons for that is because the culture aspect of things, like people like working out with, a tribe, that makes a big difference for
people that sweat together, stick together,
make people consistently do it. And then, like I said, the increased euphoria that you get after a hard workout, I think people appreciate that more than just, this is not for everybody, but, there's a big portion of the population that enjoy that more than, just going and getting a pump in the gym.
I agree.
So
that's you. I think like that's something that you should subscribe to that.
I still love getting a pump.
Okay.
Still love it, dude.
I cannot get Kyle to work out with me to get a pump to save my life. He will not. He just says, I got to lay on my back dying before I feel like I had a good workout.
Yeah. I mean, dude, also you got to stick to a training program, and so there
pros and cons.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to everything, but if you have a plan, you want to stick to the plan.
Mm-hmm. Tell me this, you got a question for me now.
Do I now?
Yeah. You said you'd have some good questions. Let's go.
Yeah, so I guess a good question for you, since you're going to put me on the spot. One of the things that has been a big reason as to why we got into the fitness industry or me specifically, is because I've always been interested in helping people live a better life. It is abundantly clear that in America today, one of the main factors in hindering people's quality of life is obesity. Obesity is only continuing to climb. We're at 40% obesity as a nation. We're at 10% severe obesity as a nation.
For our listeners, what is severe obesity?
Severe obesity is going to be anything, I believe, that's over 50%.
So it's like a mobile
body fat. I don't think you're immobile at that point, but I think that you're just dealing with, over 50% body fat.
Your risk for heart disease and all kinds of others are just skyrocketed.
Yeah, I mean, your risk for heart disease starts going up at 25%. So But yeah, this is people that are going to have severe complications later in life. And what I was saying is it is only continuing to grow. I know this is something that weighs heavy on me from a person that works in the fitness industry, and as we have both worked so hard to try and reduce that rate and try and make people's life healthier. Why do you think that is?
What do I think what is?
That the obesity rate has continued to climb at such a drastic rate, even though the information that people are being provided is more readily available. There's more inspiration than ever before. There's more information on how to get healthier than ever before. There's more, there's more tools at people's, fingertips than ever before.
I have a very strong opinion on this, and this could be completely off base. Again, if you don't agree with me, totally cool. I'd love to hear what your take is, and I'd like to get smarter from hearing what you have to say too, and just entertain other people's viewpoints. But at this juncture, I feel very strongly that the reason why obesity continues to climb is because our society has made it okay to feel okay about being overweight from a vanity standpoint. And unfortunately, what we're doing there is letting people feel okay about being completely unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I think those things are very closely tied together. And let me give you some more anecdotal evidence of this. So Kyle and I worked at the counter at a nutrition store for over 10 years. And, I've taken more transactions than literally anybody in the history of our company that I know of, purely from the amount of years working the counter full time the entire time. And the amount of people that come into our store now, versus let's say just 5 years ago, and it's been a steady trend for the last 10 that I've noticed. You could take the same man or woman and they'll come in, and what the general population who does not live and breathe fitness thinks, like what they accept to be as normal, has changed, year in, year out. And so what people come in thinking they need to start off with when they're coming to a professional and they're saying, hey, I heard my friends doing this, my family members doing this, those things are changing every year, what they come in looking for, right? It's whatever's on trend. And what's trending as a total societal trend is that, like, we're not ever going to tell somebody who's super overweight that, hey, you're freaking overweight. You need to do something about it. You're not allowed to say those things you can't hurt people's feelings. You know what I mean? And as we go down to this, social, this acceptance, kind of trend, unfortunately, a lot of people are extremely unhealthy because of it, because they're not taking their problems serious. And so how we notice this is when people come in, I will have somebody who is 300 pounds, 40% body fat, and they'll be like, hey, do you have any protein? And I'm like, well, of course. Yeah, we have protein for you. They're like, do you have any kind of pre-workout? And we're like, yeah, we have pre-workout over here. But what we tell you to start off with is let's go over your diet and let's get you something that's going to help boost maybe your resting metabolic rate. Let's get you something that's going to help you, in the sense of helping you get to the gym and have a better workout, but not just a pre-workout. Let's do something that's going to help you physiologically. And they don't come in looking for things that are a direct help to their goal. They're going in looking for the thing that's on trend at the time. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if I meet a 300-pound woman who's looking for post-workout protein, I love that she's looking for protein. That's actually a good start. That's actually me being like generous, because a lot of them are looking for, goji berry extract because they heard about it on Dr. Oz.
I will say this about that comment. I think that a lot of people are waking up to there's no quick fix.
I hope
and
that's
so
the
you
case.
get a lot of people. Well, I think there's a couple different things that, to kind of go off what you were saying. I don't know if everybody is,
there's no quick fix, but why?
Hold on. I don't know if everybody is going through like this phase of like, well, I'm just going to accept this fact. I think a lot of people have given up too. Yeah. A lot of people have tried. They've tried a couple of times and then they're like, this isn't for me. Right. And a lot of that can be boiled down to trying to follow the wrong thing and also trying to be too restrictive. And, when somebody comes in and they're, 300 pounds and they're asking for a protein shake, maybe they've just gotten to the point where they're like, well, there is no easy way of doing this. I'm just going to, I'm going to do the hard stuff and it's going to take me years. And I know I need to increase protein. Protein is one of the most important aspects of somebody trying to lose weight. And, they're just going to take it. And
here's the thing though. Don't you think that if things were actually going in that direction, Kyle, that we would be seeing obesity rates drop?
Yeah, no, I For sure, but I also think that in general,
I would love to believe that. I just don't see that happening.
Hold on, what was the stat that you told me before we sat down?
Regarding
it was about professional sports.
Oh God, dude. This is a hearsay stat, but I was told that the professional sports industry in general, we're talking every professional sports league, specifically, your 5 major ones, which would be NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL, and MLS, but that's in America. Now, like the English Premier League, for example, in Europe would be the one I would include as well. And all of these teams combined values, the actual like market cap for professional sports, I believe is around $200 billion. But esports, as of right now, is at $300 to $400 billion, and it's on projection to do $700 billion a year by 2027.
That is a problem.
So esports.
So think about that. You're taking a lot of kids that would have previously been playing sports, and understand this about when you play sports as a kid, you take that habit with you the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
So
we all worked out after football.
The energy that I put into football when I was younger, I put that into training now. So, and if I had never played football when I was younger, I don't know if I'd be training now. You know what I'm saying? So the habits that you're starting as a kid are the habits you take with you the rest of your life. Esports is taking those kids that would be doing some kind of physical activity and finding some kind of way of exercising, and it's plopping them in front of a computer screen or in front of a TV screen. And, we all know that when you're that physically inactive for a long period of time, it usually it is accompanied by eating like crap as well. Mm-hmm. And generally just not taking care of yourself. That is a gross generalization, but it's hard to hear a stat like that and not think that obesity rates are only going to get worse because the younger generation is not as interested in physical activity as they were in previous generations. We got,
and this is a whole nother ball of wax, but it's just like, the stuff that we would all see on our social media. If you're a fitness fan, I'd hope that you must be, if you've gotten to this point of this podcast, you are, I'm assuming, someone who is a fan of fitness. And the amount of people that we saw share this, and it might have been all of us, that, during COVID, as an example, like we heard nothing from the CDC regarding just how to combat this disease through just eating healthier and exercising.
Losing weight.
Yeah, and losing weight.
The number one comorbidity factor was obesity.
Right.
Number one.
So, you have people screaming at you that are 300 pounds to put your mask up, and you're like, dude, why are you pretending like you care about your health?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, this is just one of those things where
I always thought it would be a good idea if I was the president in that situation and I saw those stats, I'd have said, hey, we're buying a block of primetime TV every single night, 5 days a week. And I'm going to give a presidential address. And in that presidential address, I'm going to tell everybody, hey, we're going to do at-home workouts as a country. This is something that I'm going to provide to you guys every single night at this time. These are the implements that you need. They're all things that you already have in your house. And we're going to be doing an hour-long workout 5 days a week because during this time, we can't go out and we can't be with each other. But one thing that we can do is we can get healthier.
Can't take care of ourselves.
And we can take care of ourselves. And that would have been something, think about how
that's just a direct line of just solving a problem.
Yeah. And it seems so simple to me.
It's because it was.
Yeah.
Like, it's all been so simple. It's just we don't want to talk about anything that doesn't involve money. It's like we need to have, we're all right, we're going too far down that rabbit hole. But
the problem is it does involve money because of the cost of healthcare. The number one, the number two, the top two things in America that kill people, heart disease and cancer, are the two things that cost the American healthcare system the most. So if you can reduce those two things, which are primarily caused by health choices that you're making, it would reduce the cost of overall healthcare, which would reduce tax burden,
Yeah, but that would solve, again, that comes back to then someone wouldn't have as much money, right? So anywho's, that's a totally different topic, but that was a good question. Now, for my last question for you, what trend has been the most alarming for you as a fitness professional since working in this industry? Specifically, again, what trend is the most alarming to you that actually caught, you know what I'm saying? Like people did this. I got mine.
Well, I was going to say that the trend that was the worst was obesity, but if you're talking about are you talking about like a supplement trend?
Yeah, like a fitness trend, as in like maybe it's the Mediterranean diet, right? Maybe it's keto.
I mean, there's so many dumb things that have happened in the supplement industry. For everybody listening to this,
that's fitness though.
Understand
supplements, that's fine.
Well, I mean, supplements or fitness in general. People have a short attention span, and most of the time people are looking for a result that's going to be quick and easy to do. And I'm here to tell you, in the fitness industry, anything that is substantial or worth having is not going to be a quick fix. It's going to be something that you have to do over a prolonged period of time, and you have to do it consistently, and you're going to probably have to put in a lot of effort to it. And so there's a ton of dumb things that we've seen. I would say most of the dumb things that we see in the fitness industry, as far as in the supplement industry, are coming out of multi-level marketing schemes. The reason I say that is because a multi-level marketing scheme, you guys have to understand the way business works. We're a retailer, so we buy product directly from the manufacturer. We turn around and we sell them for a profit. A multi-level marketing scheme, you're literally paying into this system that has, 3, 4, 5, 10 people above you, and all of those people get a cut, right? And so what ends up happening is you get a junk product that is costing twice as much as the normal cost of a product that is being sold to you by one of your friends or family members, and they're taking advantage of the ability to come at, you know what I'm saying? If your Aunt Susie comes at you and tries to sell you something, you might be more likely to listen to her.
I like to call it adult fundraising. The little kid knocks on your door and tries to sell you some wrapping paper, and cookies. You're listening to him, and you want to help out a little kid who's trying to work hard, and you want to show him that when you work hard, you get something for it. And so then you have your family coming at you like, hey, I'm doing this thing too. You should support me. And you're like, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, but this is the thing. In the supplement industry, most people don't know what they're looking at, right? So they don't understand what an ingredients label is. They don't understand quality of protein. They don't understand underdosing a product. They don't understand the differences in qualities of products. And these multi-level marketing schemes kind of take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say, I'm sure that somebody listening to this, I'm sure there is some multi-level marketing company out there that does things the right way. But I'm just saying as a generalization, most of them are taking advantage of that. And then to even back up a little bit further, I would say there's a lot of companies in the supplement industry in general that try and take advantage of that by using things like, proprietary blends. And there's lots of different things that companies do to try and increase profit margin.
Least cost formulations. Yeah. But I would say multi-level marketing schemes in general and the popularity of them over time is something that has always kind of bothered me in the supplement industry, purely because people that are behind them it's almost religious. They're you know what I'm saying? They are fully bought in, and it's so hard to be like, it becomes an identity, and it's so hard to be like, hey, listen, let me explain to you like what's in this product and why it's not going to do much for you, and why you could probably just go buy a carton of eggs. What's the best documentary for that? I feel like was it Betting on Zero? Is that what it's called? Herbalife
one's pretty good.
It's unbelievable. It's like this.
I don't typically like to recommend like Netflix documentaries as being a good source of information.
Certainly not. But they are authentic stories as far as the people that were, a part of it.
Yeah.
I'll follow up the answer with two. Again, I'm going to get more specific because this is not like to talk in a very general way like you were just now in that sense. Like it's really important information that you said, but I'm going to get more specific. And I'm not trying to drag names through the mud. It's just this trend of just like, what the hell are you doing to these people? And I'm going to start with Body by Vi. I don't know if it still exists.
Delicious soy protein isolate.
Fiber. There was, I believe,
sprinkles of vitamins.
Just 2 scoops of this stuff, which was a protein powder in a bag. I believe it was like $70 for 16 servings. And in 2 scoops, you would get 12 grams of protein. They were 90 calories per serving, and their actual thing they told all these people to lose weight is, I need you to drink this Body by Vi for breakfast. I need you to drink a Body by Vi for lunch, and then you can eat whatever you want for dinner as long as it's 500 calories or less. So you're legitimately telling people that they are going to eat 680 calories a day, and that is healthy. And on top of that, there was like middle school aged kids doing this. Like in our store, customers telling us that they had their kids on this, and you're just like, okay, I'm not here to, we're not doctors. We're not here to tell you what to do on that aspect. If you want our opinion, we'll give it to you. But
and to let everybody know, as far as like the pricing and why I would say that such a problem with multi-level marketing is that it was $70 for 12 servings of that soy protein isolate raw. You can get it for $10 or $15 per 30 servings, probably less than that. I don't know.
Probably way less.
It's the cheapest protein that you can buy. And then fiber is basically, a couple of bucks. What do we sell?
$8 for like 100 servings.
Yeah. Fiber is like not
psyllium husk
at all.
fiber. Yeah.
And then they were sprinkling in vitamins. So it was a very small amount, ineffective doses
of pixie
vitamins,
dusting.
Pixie dusting. Mm-hmm. So that product, that $70 product was probably no more than, $7 or $8 or something like that.
And that's
it was
generous.
12. It was 12 servings, so it was definitely less than that.
It was generous, but in the bags like didn't seal all the way, this or that. But you know what? There was a lot of BMWs driving around Springfield, Missouri, with their Body by Vi logo on the back of it. Because if you sold enough of them, you got a free BMW. And
yeah, that's just not.
The bottom line is this too: for people that have gotten results on something like that, okay. Yes, of course, it's very easy to get results if you're eating less than 700 calories a day. But that's not sustainable, and we all know that. So it's just like, what are you going to do when you're done? If you don't have a plan, eat the way you used to eat, look the way you used to look, have the same health as you used to have. And so that was just like a really, really tough one, because as somebody who is selling supplements, we get rolled up into that, right? Like we get associated with these people that are selling these things, and it's so frustrating to have customers come in and not trust us because they bought something from their family member, or someone that they know from work or whatever, that they got zero results from. And so when people are setting people up for short-term success only, it's very difficult in the fitness industry if you're trying to do things the right way and try to help people genuinely, because then you have to be the bad guy. You have to be the one that says like, hey man, I'm sorry, but like, I know your results were great, but like I would ask you not to do that again, and they're like, well, dude, it worked for me in the past. And you're like, I'm sorry, but we get lumped into these same kind of schemes, if you will. And we have to I'll just say this, it's exhausting working a shift when you have that many customers who are coming in thinking that, what you're talking to them about or what you're showing them is BS because they've got screwed over in the past, if that makes sense. It feels like you're talking to a new girl you're dating and she's been screwed over by her ex so many times that she has all these trust issues, and you're just like, hey, I'm not that guy. I don't know what you want me to do here. I had pure intentions.
Yeah, I think, and really this just goes to the fact that if you are talking to somebody, and let's say you say, oh, I'm trying to lose weight. If they ask you no questions about your current diet, if they ask you no questions about what kind of training you're doing, they ask you no questions about what other supplements you're taking, and they just go straight to, hey, you need to try this stuff that I've been taking. It's like, it makes no sense. You have to understand the full picture of what somebody has going on before you could ever give them advice regarding diet, supplements, training.
Yeah, blind recommendations are rampant in that industry.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous. And I mean, that was the worst of it. And of course, somebody's going to lose weight, eating 700 calories a day, but what that does to your metabolic rate over time and what that does to your, the rebound that you get. Most of the research shows when you do a super restrictive calorie diet like that for too long, then you actually don't even gain the weight back. You gain the weight back plus more.
Yep.
And that's, I think,
because you've also reined your metabolism into the ground.
And what happens is that cycle is what, in my opinion, when it comes to the obesity rate, that cycle over time is what basically leads people to say, fuck it. Yeah. I'm done trying.
Correct. Because they never tried everybody's tried, I've tried everything. Have you tried consistently dieting and exercising?
Yeah.
Because no one has done that, right?
You're not. You used to do that back in the day with keto. I would be like, hey, you should stop doing that. You should just.
Oh, it takes one to know one for sure. I can smell my own. I had sorry for cursing. Smell
your own farts.
No, I mean when somebody else has that same issue. Yeah. And so I've lost 60 pounds 4 times. I've yo-yoed my entire 20s, and it was really just trying out different diets. I did keto a handful of times, but I've done other diets as well. And you're like, just seeing what works for you and see what you can be consistent with. And for a while, I was just killing it on keto for the longest time. I was on it for 6 months straight, just doing it as a lifestyle once I lost the weight. And I'll never forget going to the doctor and them telling me that like my cholesterol was just like straight up through the roof, that like my blood was super thick. Just like, oh, you mean I've been eating nothing but fat for the last 6 months? Like, well, no shit, you know? And so again, like this isn't sustainable either, because of course I'm going to like want to go on a trip, or, you know, I'm with friends, whatever. Like there's going to be a time where I'm going to want, you know, the free bread or the chips and salsa, you know? And so that's just not something you can stick with either. Yeah. Now, that's a whole nother podcast in itself. If we want to talk about just keto in general, that's a crazy one we can get into. Yeah. But everything works is the way I'd like to leave this, is that all different facets of dieting, all these different trends, all these different ways of doing things can all work. It's all about adherence. What can you adhere to for the next, 5 years? Can you actually do it for 5 years?
Well, yeah. And you also need somebody who's smart enough to if somebody's got a significant amount of weight to lose, you need somebody that's smart enough to basically understand that you're going to be in a calorie deficit for a certain period of time. Once you get stuck at that, after dieting, for a certain period of time, you need to increase your calories into a maintenance calorie phase before you get back into a calorie deficit. You can't just, blast a calorie deficit for too long, or else that runs your metabolic rate into the ground. You just really, at the end of the day, you need to be talking to somebody who actually cares and is going to, show you the way.
So the last one I want to talk about that was like, what the hell? HCG. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is roughly 10 years ago, but we're talking about a hormone, pregnancy hormone specifically, that this is what if somebody was trying to sell it to you, because there was a multi-level marketing program for this one too, or they would sell it to like chiropractors or so forth, like anybody that was a doctor could sell it, right? And it was saying that I'm going to trick my body into thinking I'm pregnant so I can actually utilize more nutrients for burning versus for storing. If you want to give me a better way of explaining that. But I'm trying to explain it in layman's terms. But the bottom line is they would tell you to take these HCG drops every day. And then in conjunction with that, you were only allowed to eat 500 calories. And you would lose weight. And the thing that we'd have to explain to everybody is like, hey man, like I could, what this is you having to buy something that they can control. Like you can't go to, your grocery store and buy this. And so that's where this whole trend is really truly like people are making money off of, is the simple fact that you can't get this anywhere. So you have to get it from these people. So if I, made up that I found some crazy pink Himalayan sea salt that I could only find, if I sold you this and for $100 and said, all right, eat this super, super rare thing that only I can find and eat 500 calories, you're going to lose a lot of weight. Well, no shit.
Yeah. HCG was really, really stupid for a lot of different reasons. One, you have to take real HCG subcutaneously because your stomach denatures HCG when you take it orally.
For our guests here, what's subcutaneous?
You have to inject it into yourself, specifically into your fat. But two, none of the HCG that people were selling was actual real HCG.
No, because you couldn't.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to sell it.
I'm like, oh, you're getting that from a doctor? You can't sell that unless it, because it's an actual hormone. And for everybody listening, HCG is like a fertility drug that they'll give men who are having a hard time with, getting their wife
fertility,
pregnant.
Yeah, right.
And so you had these people running around selling fake HCG that was taken orally. So that it was like dumb on so many different levels.
HCG right on the front. I mean, you could get drops at Walmart for $10.
Yeah.
But people are like, yeah,
I've always wondered if
I'm
that
doing
was
these
just
drops.
a Springfield thing, though. Because it seemed like it was really popular in Springfield. But
for sure. But there was like HCG clinics all over the country.
Were there?
Absolutely. Instead of it being, the classic like not Fin, but the other one.
I don't know.
Phentermine. Instead of a phentermine weight loss clinic, now it's an HCG clinic. Pretty wild.
Phentermine's another one that's interesting. But yeah, it just, there's tons of dumb things that happen in the fitness industry. And like I said,
but that took off, man. HCG took off, dude.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And it was something that you're like, you want, like, it starts like, I'll put it this way. It starts with just, some random customers that come in the store and tell you about it. And then all of a sudden you start seeing people like that, and respect also jumping in this. And you're like, what is going on?
It's called social contagion.
Tell us what that means, Kyle.
It just means that once you see somebody doing something, you start doing it. Social contagion, in my opinion, is the reason for a lot of problems in our country right now.
Agreed.
A lot.
But it's easy to do. Monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see, monkey do. And all you have to do is see one person do it that you respect, and then you're all of a sudden like, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, I'll give that a shot.
Yeah.
So that's it for my questions for you, man. If you have any left.
No, I don't really, man.
I think that's a great first start for 5 good questions with Jeff and Kyle.
I hope you have such a good weekend at that wedding while I'm at Summer Smash.
My cousin Erin, sweet, sweet gal. I haven't seen her since my brother's wedding like 6 years ago, so look forward to hanging out with them. If you are listening to this, I do want you guys to know this. June 18th of 2022, we are hosting a massive barbecue / block party / party at our Lee Summit location, and we want you to be there.
What kind of barbecue will we have, since that is the question that we ask at the end of every podcast?
So whenever we do these barbecues, we like to support and pour into the communities that we hold them in. And so in this case, we're in Lee Summit, and across the street from our Lee Summit location is Jack Stack Barbecue.
It is. It's delicious.
Jack Stack is delicious as their barbecue is. I think they have the best chicken wings in Kansas City.
They do. They're pretty good.
I think they're, what are they called? Like Fire Kissed?
Fire Kissed
wings. They are the shit.
Yeah.
And they come with like a smoked, like fire roasted jalapeno that I also love to eat and enjoy. That's great too. So know this, we're going to have some Jack Stack barbecue at this event. We will have First Form's elite athlete, Claire Thomas. She is super, super Insta famous, but also just has the most ridiculous abs in the whole fitness industry. She will be on hand and hanging out with everybody to meet people. We're going to have over 30 vendors. We have 7, 8, 9 different supplement brands that are going to be there. Local gyms, fitness apparel companies, fitness meal prep companies, all there to showcase what they got. So we'd love for you to come out. The first 100 people are going to get a free shaker with some samples and goodies thrown in. I know we're going to have, I know Bang Energy just told us they're going to be hooking us up with some free drinks for all of our guests there too. So we hope to see you out. It costs $0 to come, and there is no special ticket or anything that you have to go. We just love for you to show up, and we even have a all women's boot camp an hour prior to the event at the park directly behind our Lee Summit location. So if you want those details, they will be listed in our bio. Isn't that right, Luke? And you can also find it on our website, proteinbrospodcast.com. So appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen. And if you enjoyed today's podcast, do us a favor. Please give it a share. It's the only way we can grow the podcast and get more people. And so we rely heavily on you guys to help us with that. So if you have been listening, if you've gotten to this point, that means you've gotten some kind of entertainment out of this, and we appreciate you. So if you could, please share us up. That's it.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys next week.
See you guys.